Assalamualaikum and a very good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's session. My name is Najib Arif and I'll be moderating today's session. And I hope everyone stays safe as we are still battling with the invisible enemy, which is the COVID-19. Just a quick recap. We're going to have this session basically for 1 hour from 11 until 12. And then we're going to start with the discussion for the first half an hour or 40 minutes or so. And then we're going to take some questions from participants. And just a quick recap, Astro, AWANI and also Agrobank basically have been collaborating via this workshop and also webinar. We talk about and share some great insights on the agriculture sector, sektor pertanian lah. And on previous session, sesi sebelum ni, we talk a lot about the smart farming, and then we talk about technology, and also we touch about the survival for agropreneurs as well, especially during this pandemic COVID-19. However, the way we see it, and we've seen how COVID-19 basically brought about huge impacts towards our economy, and agriculture is no exception basically. As we all know, Malaysia sebelum ini kita perkenalkan the Movement Control Order as we call it, or the MCO, PKP lah. Or sekarang kita panggil dia PPN, Plan Pemeliharaan Negara. Basically, initially masa kita introduce awal-awal Movement Control Order ini, it caused some panic buying. And then kalau kita tengok some people, they're staying indoors and then cook at home, and then this trend has been on the rise. And then this basically has led to the higher demand for the fresh food items at local markets and also supermarkets. And at the same time, the lockdown basically to contain the COVID-19 outbreak basically has been hurting the supply side, which is the supply of labor, and disrupting the supply chains in the agriculture industry itself. And then we talk about the food security. But to me, the food security, the way I see it, basically, it is a multi-dimensional in nature, basically involving such as the food availability, supply, pembekalan dan sebagainya, and then food accessibility, which is the affordability, tahap kemampuan, dan juga utilization, which is the food safety and also nutritional meals. Basically, these three factors. And also, we've seen the COVID-19 crisis basically has already been affecting the food security and also food supply chain directly through impacts on food supply, bekalan makanan dan juga permintaan itu sendiri, dan juga secara tidak langsung indirectly through changing consumer behavior basically, and then affecting the capacity in terms of in terms of producing and distributing food itself. Itu kita lihat macam mana kesannya lah, dan pada akhirnya apa kita lihat kesan yang paling besar iaitu bagaimana dia menjejaskan ataupun affect the poor and also the vulnerable members of the society. I just want to give the macam premise dahululah sebelum kita mulakan perbincangan. Kalau kita melihat agriculture sebelum ini, kerajaan melabelkan dia sebagai sektor yang kritikal yang dibenarkan beroperasi, which is allowing businesses to operate lah during MCO, tapi the limited supply of raw materials, labor and also market access, kalau kita tengok along with logistical constraints pun basically adversely lah affected the food supply system itself dalam keadaan pandemic COVID-19. Kalau kita lihat, saya nak quote di sini, kalau kita lihat Department of Agriculture juga menyebut bahawa antara isu, the number of issues occurred during MCO, which is the limited availability of the fertilizers, pesticides, ada masalah seeds juga, machinery, spare parts, ada juga farm equipment. Ini antara masalah yang kita hadapi dan juga berdepan, cabaran lah kalau kita sebutkan cabaran. Kalau kita lihat antara yang terkesan teruk iaitu perishable dan juga fresh produce seperti sayur-sayuran, vegetables yang paling teruk terkesan. Kalau kita lihat level ataupun peringkat dan juga tahap apa yang kita gelar post harvest loss ataupun PHL ini ataupun food waste lah semakin meningkat. Kita lihat berlaku di Cameron Highlands dan sebagainya sewaktu MCO. Ini adalah bagaimana COVID-19 memberikan kesan kepada sektor pertanian. Persoalannya, how do we build resilience for ataupun among farmers or for agriculture? How do we embrace this difficult time and then change the way we do and see agriculture? What does it take basically for a big change to happen? And most importantly, the $1 million questions, which is what the future looks like for agriculture. And then that's what we're going to discuss today. And there's only one suitable person to answer this, someone who basically oversees and sees agriculture as a whole from banks' perspectives, of course. It is my great pleasure to welcome the covering president, also chief executive officer of Agrobank, Puan Khatijah Iskandar. Puan Khatijah, how are you today? Sihat ke?
Alhamdulillah, thank you Najib.
Alhamdulillah, sihat. Okay, Puan Khatijah, let's just go straight to the topic. This is very interesting topic. Sesi sebelum ni we've discussed about agriculture as a whole lah, semua sekali macam mana way forward and everything. Kan? Tapi today, kalau kita nak bercakap pasal Agrobank's plans to support, because we've seen how basically farmers and also agriculture punya usahawan terjejas disebabkan oleh COVID-19. But what is Agrobank's plans to support agriculture sector recovery, pemulihan ini during pandemic? For Khatijah.
Thank you. I think as an introduction, I think you may have known that Agrobank is actually a DFI. So being a DFI, we have a specific roles to play. So it's actually, we call it as a counter-cyclical role. So meaning this is where we are expected to play a greater role. This pandemic situation. So you know, in agriculture, that the farmers, or even without any disaster or any pandemic, they are actually exposed to threats like you know, pests, disease, or even change in weather condition and weeds. So naturally, these sectors are actually high risk, and as a consequence of that, we also see that these sectors and the participants in the sectors are actually, we call it underserved or unserved. Yeah, it's not within the appetite of the commercial banks, simply because of the high risk associated with it, and as well as maybe lack of understanding, and hence the establishment of Agrobank. Tapi for Agrobank, recognizing that this is a high risk sector, so you know, helping the farmers with disasters is not something new for us. We already have even a policy, existing policy, where if we know that our customers are actually impacted because of the disaster, any types of disaster, memang automatically we already have in our policy, we will grant them some breathing period. We call it moratorium. So the word moratorium is not really new for us in Agrobank. We will automatically will give them 6 months to allow the customers to assess the situation and be able to bounce back. And therefore, maybe they know already how to rearrange their business or cash flow. The only thing is during this period, we didn't expect it to last until today. So normally it will not last until 2 years. So it's only like less than 6 months. So for us, we continue to give this moratorium, you know, R&R and moratorium exercise during the Mora. In fact, for Agrobank, we started the moratorium before even the announcement made by the government. Yeah, and we even come up with because we think that it's not going to be long, only for a short period. So we even come up with a program after this moratorium. What will we do if this COVID is over? So we thought after 6 months it will be over, and then what we do then when there's an announcement by the government, then of course we support the announcement as well, and we modify further our programs. Even if they're outside the eligibility under the announcement by the government, under Pemulih or under the opt-out methods, that we have our own program. Doesn't mean these people will be left out. But the thing is, maybe they won't be in the program as announced by the government, but it's in our own program. So it is also important that we continue to support them. Meaning to say, we are giving them the breathing period, yes, but some of them, they need to restart the business or they continue to do business during this pandemic. So we don't stop giving financing during this period as well. That is part of the support that we continue to give to our customers. So in fact, as of July, I think we participated in various funds from Bank Negara or even from the stimulus fund. Then as of July, we have like extended about 924 million of financing to so how many customers that have benefited from this is about 14,824 of them. So on the average is about 62k per customer. So it means that we are supporting this you know, the small size of sizes of customers. This is in addition to the moratorium and reduced payment. Yeah, so this is what we have done actually. And what is interesting, what we're going to continue to do actually, you know, today people are talking about unemployment rate is rising, right? So we even provide some allocation for those who want to change the career and become a farmers, modern farmers. we have that allocation, so people can come and apply at bank with us, Agrobank. Yeah. So just to illustrate further in terms of growth, if you compare our financing growth month on month as of July, the industry is actually growing at 3.1%. But for Agrobank, we are growing. We were growing at 5.5%, so higher even than the industry, just to demonstrate the counter-cyclical roles that we have played so far. So we're talking about giving them some space and then giving them additional financing, but we also provide other services as well. We have our Agro Center of Excellence, where we actually provide advisors as well. And we provide platform for our customers to exchange ideas. We invited our customers and share how do they cope in this pandemic situation, so they can learn from each other. In addition, also we have our online courses, yeah, because when pandemic happens, the technology seems to be accelerated. So online trading has become popular. So we have to actually educate our customers or those who are interested, how can they adapt, or now the popular word, how can they pivot to the current situation. So that's basically what we do. So what is interesting, we do our strategic business plan on 5-year basis. And the current strategic business plan period actually started in 2021. So this is our first year of the new strategic business plan. So we have more in store actually for our customers, yeah, because of we have already planned for our business in future, notwithstanding the COVID-19. So if I can read out the focus areas, we have 4 focus areas. One of them is sound agriculture development and inclusive customer focus, transformative business models, and sustainable financial inclusion conditions. So those are actually our plan moving forward. Yeah.
Okay. Point Khatijah, you mentioned just now about it's very interesting, one of the interesting topics or points, which is the unemployment. And then you said that those who basically siapa yang kena got retrenched dan sebagainya wanted to embark on the agricultural journey as a usahawan dan sebagainya can go to Agrobank, ada dana dan sebagainya. But in terms of, I want to talk about the food security, or how do we modernize the way we do agriculture? And then by bringing the men on the street, youth, youngsters especially, to get involved in agriculture. Apa yang dilakukan oleh Agrobank sendiri? What are the things that in the pipeline maybe to help these people, basically men on the street, to get involved in the agriculture?
Yeah, we actually, if you realize, I think even at the national level, there's an effort actually to promote for the young generation to come and participate in the agriculture. And so much so, I think interest has been shown by these youngsters, yeah, because of COVID again. And you cannot run away by attracting these youth with technology, because nowadays semua orang ada handphone, right? So everything is at the fingertip. So if we say, how do you want to promote this to make sure that these people are interested in agriculture, how can they come and participate? If I can focus the discussion into 3 main areas, actually, crop, fisheries, and livestock. There are departments even in MAFI, they are doing this and giving advisory services, and there are allocation actually under this department. So for Agrobank, our role actually, we provide financing as well, and we work together with these agencies. So first thing, they can go and approach us, then we can always refer them to the agencies, or they can go to the agency itself, then they may eventually be referred to us as well. Yeah. So we have been, I think, under Penjana, 350 million was allocated even for micro enterprises, meaning this is for the small sizes businesses, so they can come. So kalau the youth they want to start their business, then this is actually the fund that is available for them. They can come to us, yeah, but provided they already have their business lah. And as I mentioned earlier, we have allocation for them to start the business. And I think at Agrobank we have programs. I know this is maybe those yang baru nak join agriculture, they don't have any experience, but we do have a program where we actually work with technology provider as well as established anchor. Yeah. And then we give the financing. Our role is to give financing. So the technology provider or the advisor, for instance, the program that we have with Malaysia Technology Development Corporation, MTDC, in April 2021, where they will support in the form of technology, introducing the technology. We will support in terms of giving the financing. But at the end of the day, if you do a business, if you cannot actually sell your produce, it's no use as well, right? So we match them with anchors. So there will be an offtake agreements. So even though if you don't know how to start or how to start, where to start, if you join the program, then we'll show you the know-how. There will be a mentor as well. So then we talk about youth, then we also talk about the B40. How can we assist this B40? So I'm actually excited to share even the three examples which we have done during this period. The program where we call My Future Agro, a collaboration with MAFI. This is actually for unemployed graduates. We give them a training, then and 23% of those who participated in the program actually started their own business. Yeah, and I think about 45% of them actually absorbed by companies in agriculture activities. Yeah, so that's one. And as a part of another, I think programs that we do for B40 and ASNAF, a program for what we call for participants from Perkampungan Nelayan Bono Rendang. Yeah, in 40 of them, most of them actually is a housewife. I think originally it was housewife, istri nelayan. So nelayan, you know, they were affected during this pandemic. So we give them training so that they can start their own business. And alhamdulillah, each of them actually can generate income of at least 1,000 per household, 1,160 to be exact, because we track them. And another one that is actually that I'm also involved also, where we have a program called Hijrah Asnaf. Yeah, so we actually tested this with 8 Asnaf for to become dia jual sate under Jom Sate. Yeah, 8 of them. So you imagine this is Asnaf. But after 6 months, we started this actually towards end of last year or beginning of this year. So this is during the height of the pandemic kan. Susah nak buka kedai, and yet we tell them how to do the business. We guide them online trading, and alhamdulillah, they can actually make income again. Some even make about 10,000. You know, this is from Asnaf. So in the period of 6 months, I think total is about some of them can make about 10,000 already. Period of 6 months, and we are talking about Asnaf from zero income. So these are the type of services and products that we do, not just giving financing, but also advisory services. So for our strategic business plan for the next 5 years, so we know giving financing maybe not really, maybe difficult to get financing at this time of period, but in our business model in 2021, we want to introduce something new, what we call transformative business model. Yeah, this is actually to support our vision, which is advancing agriculture beyond banking. So we want to move away or to diversify, not just by giving financing. Maybe now people are highly geared. How about introducing investment platform? Yeah. So because financing normally, if the project fail, then customer will still have to pay, right? Entrepreneurs will still have to pay. But if it's investment, appetite dia berbeza. Yeah. So normally investors understand business can fail. They may not even insist. There would be some kind of arrangement rather than paying back monthly or paying back after a certain period. Tak ada, sebab appetite dia berbeza kan, because we are calling investment. So we can even get involved, even the individuals to come and invest in agriculture if they have the money, the capital, but they don't have the time maybe. Yeah, so they can actually invest in a project to be worked on by some of the people lah, the entrepreneurs yang berminat. So that is actually one of the what we plan to do lah in the next 5 years. Yeah, And what is interesting also, we know that this can be how we can attract this further. We are also working on introducing crop takaful. Yeah. So when you come and do the business in agriculture, because agriculture is always perceived as a high risk punya initiative or activity. So if you are protected from the disaster, then we're talking disaster again, disaster and disaster, then I think it can attract more interest, right? That's basically the exciting things that are happening in the next 5 years for Agrobank.
Yeah, basically it's a holistic approach by Agrobank, the way I see it, and it's very interesting because end-to-end solution kind of set up and all that. But Put Khadija, I want to get your point of view because we've seen the demand for food, especially when we talk about food security, where Malaysia is ranked 40th among 113th country in the world under the Global Food Security Index, which makes the agriculture is a viable solution for Malaysia, especially. As much as we talk about new industries, we talk about new technology in various other industries, but agriculture is the future. How do you view this? Do you agree on this?
Yes, agriculture is the future, definitely. And I think that's why we need to attract more people, especially the young ones, yeah, to be with us, to be in the agriculture sector. Because nowadays we can see that the problem with this sector, majority young in these sectors are actually quite an advanced age, yeah. So we need some continuity there. And how do we attract the youth to be in this sector? Because I think the sector has always been associated with the 4Ds, right? Difficult, dangerous, dirty, and demeaning. But now, what we can learn from COVID-19, we need to embrace technology, right? And I think when we embrace this technology, it can attract even the young ones. As I mentioned just now, everyone has a smartphone, right? So and everything is at your fingertips. So if you can manage your farm just by using your handphone, so even if there's any MCO, you're not worried whether your cow has been fed kata or whether there's enough nutrition or not for your crops, right? Because it will be monitored remotely. So that's the using of technology, some of them. And then I think also because normally this sense of social purpose is stronger among the youth, right? So they would be more. We need to incorporate some sense of social purpose in the agriculture as well, yeah. Because if we look at one of the UN's SDGs, yes, development goals is to erase poverty, right? So then to help the woman. So that's actually one of the things that I think that can attract the youth, because by using technology we can actually improve the yield as well, and it's convenient, and you do not need a big of a space, so you can do it even in the urban areas, because now we can see, currently if you talk about agriculture, semuanya mungkin di luar kawasan luar bandar, right? And we can even see migration of the young people from luar bandar to come to the city center. But now how about if you're born in the city? You have to go and find a location luar bandar, or can we do something about doing farming in urban and adapt, yeah, and use the technology. So when we talk about the youth, and when we relate this again with our business plan, so one of our focus areas is actually a customer focus, inclusive customer focus. So what we plan to do, we will focus on this B40, or the youth or human, what we term them as underserved or unserved. We will be together in the journey to become a successful agropreneur. So meaning to say, they can start with us with various programs. We will hold their hand, we'll give them financing. Then if they are successful, then we make sure that they progress. Yeah.
Okay. Alright, it seems like we have sedikit ada masalah teknikal. Kita akan cuba dapatkan balik Puan. Tengah sedap sebenarnya bercakap tadi tu, terberhenti pula. Kita cakap, basically apa kita boleh recap sikit, kalau boleh saya recap balik, ini adalah holistic approach by Agrobank sendiri. Kalau kita lihat end to end basically. Kalau those yang bukan sahaja in the industry, to get involved in the industry, to become agropreneurs itself, can go to the Agrobank because they provide holistic solutions. Basically, not just that, it's very interesting for B40, because we've seen now those Malaysians that live under the poverty line basically reaching 8.4%. There's a lot of people basically due to the COVID-19 basically are living under the poverty lines, which is the 2,208 ringgit per month for household income and all that. So these are the guidelines, and then I think we can refer to Agrobank for advising. Jangan risau kalau tak ada experience and all that, Agrobank can provide as such, dan juga itu juga kita akan dapatkan. Bagaimana kalau kita melihat keadaan semasa ini? Puan Khatijah masuk balik dah. Okey, Puan Khatijah tadi terputus sedikit. Sambung. Because saya sedap cerita terputus sedikit. Continue Puan Khatijah, because a lot of participants actually interested in your sharing basically.
Okay, I don't know where, kat mana putus tadi, but I was talking about inclusive customer focus, how we can be together with our customer in their journey to participate in this sector, even from the startup. We will put them in the program and we'll make sure that it will be successful. Maybe for a start, they're not bankable, they're not attractive to other banks, but we will make sure that we will teach them how to be more attractive and how to manage their business, and we will be with them all the way. So that is part of our focus in the next 5 years, what we call upward migration. So you will migrate from a micro enterprise, daripada 5 orang pekerja, then you might become an SME, 75 staff, dah besar lagi, and become corporate in the end and listed. We do have that kind of customers in our portfolio.
Okay, there's some questions from participants. Nanti akan take few. Nanti sekejap lagi, jangan risau, akan ambil soalan-soalan ni. Tapi Puan Khatijah, I want to focus on I want to get your point of view as well, because we've seen the agriculture contribute basically 8% to GDP, more or less lah, GDP per annum currently. But 3 years ago, we've seen leaders talking about reviving the farming industries. Let's bring into the context into the farmers itself. Farmers basically should not live under poverty line anymore, as they have the expertise basically. According to some research, the current agriculture model basically prevents rural farmers especially from harvesting greater yields. You mentioned also about the greater yields just now. And income as the land sizes they own basically are too small. Now we talk about consortium, gabungkan semua tanah-tanah diorang ni untuk kita majukan dan sebagainya. How in banks' perspectives, is this the way forward? Consortium tanah dan sebagainya, is this a sustainable way forward for agriculture and agropreneurs as well? Khadijah.
It is a good idea if you can get an optimum size. We call it. Can you hear me?
Yes. Continue, Khadijah.
Okay, if you can have the ideal size, we say the optimum size to operate on. However, there are also issues, right? Because of the fragmented land ownership. And, when there are different owners for different land, we see that there will be issues moving forward when the business has developed, who will own the land. And sometimes when customer has been established, then the landowner may want to take back the land. So there are issues as well. Then, yes, we need a reasonable operational size. However, when we talk about reasonable operational size with the current technology now, do we really need to consolidate, or is there any other model? Because now with the technology, we can increase the yield or the productivity of the land, irrespective of the size. So I think the answer is still technology. For instance, in urban areas, I mentioned just now, if you're born in the city, takkan nak balik kampung, tak ada kampung, you want to go back and then work on the land. Or could it be a migration now, daripada from kampung now to, from kampung to city, now from city to kampung. Do we move now back to the kampung? So we have to adopt the technology and make sure that we can adapt, yeah. So there's an urban, we call it in urban areas, we can do vertical farming, yeah. So that's actually, I think, you can do more, not necessarily by having a large size of land. So for us in Agrobank, how we see it, in future, we want to have a potential strategic partnership with a private or even with public companies, yeah, public players. So it may involve some structural reform, yeah, and how we do things and how we want to participate. And this can also be led by MAFI, for instance. But we can participate because we are also an agency under MAFI. Yeah. So what is beautiful about Agrobank? Yeah, we have our own act. Now, even though we are a bank, but being a DFI, we can do beyond banking. Meaning that's why our vision is advancing agriculture beyond banking. So we can do like asset management. It is allowed under our act. That's why we're exploring as well some kind of protection like the crop takaful. So those are the things that we plan to do, yeah, to work with other business partners, yeah, to make sure that we can bring the sector further, yeah, to alleviate the sectors. Yeah.
You mentioned about partnership. Now I want to bring one of the participants' questions, which is how do we approach Agrobank if we would like to collaborate to develop a solution for B40? I am part of social entrepreneurship program that is currently aiming to tackle agriculture-related issues. Can they basically approach to Agrobank to come out to do partnership?
Yes, you're welcome to come and then approach us. Yeah, we have just to share that we have actually restructured ourselves where we have a dedicated team to look at this developmental role. Yeah, so this actually fits well into our current business model as well. You're welcome to come and approach. You can actually contact my office or you can contact any of our officers. Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna go to another questions after this, but I want to get your point of view as well, Puan Khatijah, because basically we've seen Malaysia is focusing largely on the palm oil and also rubber, which bring a lot of money to our coffers lah, basically kan. Over 2/3, 2/3 daripada 8 juta tidak silap saya hektar tanah pertanian di Malaysia ini, 1.2 million sebahagian besar adalah palm oil, 1.2 million adalah untuk rubber. Kalau kita melihat 51 billion juga worth of food annually kita import daripada luar negara. Now, some experts say that kalau kita tanam benda yang betul, if we plant the right thing, basically we will reduce our import and perhaps manage our mungkin to get fresh produce at a lower price. But do you think that it is timely for the agriculture industry to switch our focus or at least to balance it and embark on other plants as well with the greater demand?
Yeah. I agree that with that kind of number that you mentioned just now, of course, definitely there's an over concentration on the land use for palm oil, right? And then, yes, however, we have to ask ourselves, what kind of crops that we think that we want to plant, that because some of the crops may not be suitable to be planted here in Malaysia, right? And at the same time also, Malaysia is actually blessed with its own resources and also has its own competitive advantage. So we shouldn't also forget on that. So as I mentioned, actually in summary, not all crops are suitable or economical to be planted in Malaysia. Yes, balancing act is required, but we do have to balance this also between economic and social development, because not to forget that there are also smallholders involved in this. Mentioned when we talk about oil palm. And then when we say we want to plant new crops, we also have to be mindful not to commit this deforestation, right? So people are talking about preserving land. So again, going back to what I have mentioned earlier, perhaps we have to adopt technology again and improve the yield, right? on the land use. Yeah, people talk about intercropping. What can we plant in the land that is already planted with the oil palm, right? So that is one of the solutions. So yes, we need to diversify as well. So in our view for Agrobank, we think there's a need to balance between commodity and agro food. So yeah, commodity, yeah, oil palm commodity, fine. But we need to do more in agro food maybe. So when we talk about agro food, there are three main sectors study: fisheries, livestock, and crops, right? And for Agrobank, we focus on this agro food as well. Yeah. And then if I can share our market share for livestock, yeah, for the bank's portfolio, our exposure is about RM1 billion already. So if we look at the total banking exposure, excluding Agrobank, is 3 billion. So our market share is really like 25% if we combine all. And so we need to increase that further, yeah. And then when we talk about fishery, this is something that I always quote. Fishery, our exposure alone to the fishery sector is 651 million. In the banking sector, the whole banking sector, the exposure is only 325 million. So we have exceeded even the whole commercial banking punya sector, you know. So if you combine that again, our share is more than 50% already. Yeah, but this is to show that this sector may not be supported well, so we have to play our role in this sector. So when we talk about agro food, there's still opportunities, yeah. And then when we talk about crops, our exposure is actually 3.1 billion compared to the industry of 2.1 billion. Again, these are the two sectors that we have exceeded the industry in terms of financing exposure. So in our strategic business plan, we intend to increase this market share further just to address the concentration on the commodity, right? And also to ensure this, we address the food security issue. So these are the things that we do.
And Khadija, I want to go to the questions. This is one of the participants, V. Kalidas. Good day. I'm Kalidas, currently working on opening durian and other tropical fruits. We are currently looking for investor to invest with us. So is Agrobank able to support us in way of getting investor or other programs available for us? Puan Khadija.
Yeah.
Boleh ke tolong dapat ke pelabur?
Ada what I can say, we do have customers in this field as well, and we have experience before where we match our customers pun ada pelabur. So what as I can mention also, we are actually one of the agencies in MAFI, yeah. So normally we can always go back to MAFI and ask for assistance if there's any investor. So we do play that matching roles, even though currently it's not really done in a very structured manner. But moving forward, we're going to do that under our new business model as well. Yeah. But currently, if there's any interest, then yeah, you're welcome to approach us. Yeah. We can do that. We can talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Okay. And also the other one is Darul Rizhan Alimun. Dia tanya, Alhamdulillah, I will submit my proposal to Agrobank. I got an idea on modernizing the agriculture. And also question is, where shall I submit the proposal? Can you advise me on this?
Okay, my question.
Yeah. Kat mana nak submit proposal ni?
Proposal on the modernizing the agriculture, you mean?
Yes.
You can submit to my office. Now I will
Okay.
expect more more proposal now coming directly to my office. I welcome that anyway, yeah.
You can give directly to Puan Khadija's office for the send directly. Okay, Puan Khadija, we will be having a few questions after this from the participants. But how do you see the agriculture in the next decade, for instance? Because we've seen, because I mentioned just now 8% to GDP, but we want to do more. And you have 5-year plan as well to tingkatkan lagi agriculture sector and all that. But how do you foresee agriculture sector in the next decade, basically?
I think you would agree with me. Now there's an increased globalization, right? So I think there would be a change in the consumption behavior as well, right? Nowadays, I'm sure you have heard people yang dah tak makan nasi. want to eat something else. And but definitely it will not change kita punya staple food lah. But if you see the food preference will be changing because of the cultural influences, yeah. And then because of the improved household income. So there could be some change in terms of type of crops that we want to plant, yes, but subject to various other conditions or subject to adaptation, right? We have to change, tweak here and there to make sure that they're successful. But at the same time, I think if you look at our neighboring countries, what is the strategy for them for food security? Then we really need to look on how do we diversify our food sources rather than relying on just one source. That we have to diversify that. And not all can be planted locally. Yeah, it has to be suitable with our climate. Yeah, so not all. However, that doesn't stop us from going abroad to do reverse investment. This is also possible to ensure that there's a food security. So that's actually in our view that can address the SSL as well as food security. And I think the government is going to launch soon the Dasar Agro Makanan Negara then 2.0. So as part of the a government agency, actually, that we will support whatever initiatives under the policy. Yeah. So this is being looked at. I think two issues that we look at is addressing the food security. Yeah. And when we talk about security, food security, not just the quantity but also the quality. Right. So moving forward, I think it's going to be an interesting time. And even for the budget 2022, it's just always thing is you see that the focus will be on food security. Then of course you cannot run away from agriculture. Then, yeah.
Yes. Arab K-12 as well next Monday.
Arab K-12,
okay. Yes. Puan Khatijah, I want to go to the one of the questions from Amrit. Amrit likes to ask question. Is Agrobank having any focus or inclination towards empowering women? This is very interesting to get into agriculture. How do you intend to entice them, particularly those who would like to start their own business, but given the stigma, how does Agrobank plan to help this underserved community, empowering women in agriculture?
Well, empowering women is actually one of the SDGs, right? Existingly, we do have our product actually. We call it ANISA for micro enterprises. If you want to start small, so you can actually come to us and apply for the financing up to 30,000 for a start. So we will have our staff to guide you and how to go about it. At the beginning of the session, I mentioned about a program at Rendang Bunut, yeah, for the wife to the fisherman. So this is one of the examples actually what we can do for these women, because women is actually known as the underserved segment. Yeah. So, and for information actually, from the credit perspective, women ni dia punya credit rating is better than men. So whether it's good news or not good news, Najib.
It is a good news.
But we're not trying to be sexist, but data has shown that women can pay better. So I think it's so accessibility to that financing is getting better over time. Yeah. So for Agrobank, not just we don't just provide financing to these women, even a dedicated financing, nama dia Anissa, but we also have our deposit product. So you balance between financing and deposit. So you instill this discipline, because once you know already how to do business, that you also need to manage that funds and to invest and put it in your deposit, for instance. So we do provide our product also specifically for women. Recently we launched it, is Farah I think. So it's a good response also so far. So we do have products and services for women.
Okay, our participant just now yang nak hantar proposal dan sebagainya tanya macam mana channel to get to your office to what is the email basically to send proposal maybe, or how?
Or you can just email to me, khadijah.iskandar@agrobank.com.my.
Okay, we'll get some people to write down the email dekat comment section, nanti boleh tengok to directly to
But
terus
then,
CEO.
yes, you can. But then, please, bear with me because I can expect the email. Even as of now, I can hardly catch up with the incoming emails, so
Yeah.
time to respond. Yeah.
Okay, Puan Khatijah, I have another question from participants. I think this is maybe quite technical, but I'm pretty sure you would understand. This is for Amrit as well. Amrit would like to know, would Agrobank be willing to disclose any data regarding SSR and the number of crops planted according to the season? Greater transparency may allow farmers to know types of crops to diversify while waiting to harvest.
This data, I think this data is actually available at MAFI, at the agency. Yeah.
Okay.
Even dekat lembaga, I think LPP. Yeah. Lembaga the one, the farmers associations. So
Yeah.
these data are actually available. And even us for ourselves, because not all farmers are with us for now, right? And then so we get our data from the agencies too.
Okay. Puan Khatijah, we have less than 15 minutes before we wrap up our session, but how, if you can give few advice for farmers nowadays, or now, especially during COVID-19 pandemic, who face difficulties and all that, what are the advice that you would give to them to survive, or to basically to have some perseverance? Because as you mentioned during early part of this session just now, that agriculture ni memang banyak lah cabaran sepanjang sebelum pandemik pun. But apa lagi advice boleh bagi pada dia?
I think satu advice, of course lah, kena bersabar lah banyak-banyak because everybody is affected by this COVID. Even us, advise ourselves pun kenalah sabar banyak-banyak juga to help these farmers. So, but I think what is important is not to give up because the economy has been reopened already. So some places MCO has been uplifted. So it's time to get up and restart and help the economy. So for us, for Agrobank, I always advise, if you are borrowers of customers of Agrobank that's financing with us, don't run away, come and talk to us. Because we are also expected to continue to help for the business continuity and to continue to help the government to recover in the process of the economic recovery, right? So what we plan to do, even as I mentioned earlier, if you have financing with us, come to us and talk to us, make us understand when will you be able to pay. So we do understand that once the economy is reopened, no one will be able to get up and lari terus, correct or not? You will require time to go back to the pre-COVID situation. You require time to generate the cash flow that maybe you have used the money before, right? So we do understand. So we do understand that, but make us understand further. Come and talk to us. Be transparent. We're willing to listen. So those who actually may have exhausted all the reserve and may want to change to another business, you can do so and explore. But do some research and make sure you have enough support. So for us, like I mentioned earlier, we do have our programs. If you need some guidance, then we will advise you to actually join the programs. Some programs are actually available at MAFI, some actually also available directly at Agrobank. You can visit our branches and make inquiry what are the programs that are available. Yeah.
Okay, and then one of the interesting comments, someone mentioned about, from Michael, someone mentioned about looking for investors just now. Can you provide the contact info or contact me? So this session has become a business matching juga sebenarnya. Okay, sebenarnya another question, Puan Khadijah, from Faizuddin. Kalau kita boleh ambilkan, Faizuddin tanya a very interesting question juga. If the young generation which don't have the land, but if a parent have or pajak from other people the land, how to convince Agrobank to support the proposal, or methods to convince to get the grant or financial support, financial support or financial financing from Agrobank? Any solution for this kind of situation, basically?
Actually, I think a few months ago we launched this young entrepreneur scheme for those below 40s. Yeah. So actually, if they have the parents punya land, they can come, subject that there's a formal agreement between the parents or and the children, because we don't want a situation where bila dah ada hasil then jadi rebutan, and therefore a tendency to forget to pay the bank. You know, so we do have that programs, especially for the youth, and that program actually we collaborated with Mafi, so it's actually a grant. So when they started with Mafi, they will be given grant about, I think, up to 20,000, and then once they have become, when they have been established, they can actually graduate and get financing from Agrobank. Then after that, then if there's further requirement, then we will assess. Yeah, so at least during the period where I think you require time to be stable, then you will have the support from the grant first. Yeah. Then when you're ready, we will give you the financing. And at the same time, I think you can always enroll into our program. I mentioned about Agro Center of Excellence, where we do provide courses or programs on how to get involved in these various programs as well.
Yeah. Okay. Another question. Yeah. Another question for Khadijah from Mohsan. Mohsan is asking, is business matching by Agrobank only available for financing client, or farmers open current account with Agrobank also can get help with business matching?
Yeah, it's open to our customers. Our customers are not limited to financing customers. Even deposit customers also our customers.
Okay, that's you can basically get involved in that. I have the last question before we wrap up the session. The final question from me. Amrit, give the third question basically. As organic food is steadily growing in Malaysia, is there any initiatives to transform traditional farmers to organic farmers, or young entrepreneurs to become organic farmers? Any crops Agrobank are looking to support in particular? Are local customers actually willing to pay higher prices for organic vegetables, given that 60% of organic food in Malaysia is exported? Organic punya sector, from Khadijah.
Yeah, well, this is a sector that we're looking at, because now Agrobank has actually been the FI, and if you're aware, recently we also issued our suku, which is actually categorized as a green suku. So we're looking at this type of financing as well, organic, and then addressing also all the concern in the SDG. So yes, but we do not specifically mention what kind of crops. So we are actually looking at all viable crops that we can finance. So if you have any venture, you can approach any of our branches or our commercial centers, so, and then discuss with us what kind of assistance that they require.
Okay. For Khadijah, last but not least, maybe some farmers who face difficulties in going to branches, or face difficulties with some bureaucracy and all that. How do you in Agrobank? But how do you solve this kind of problem? How do you make it better for your customers and clients?
Oh, that is our customers' experience. So if I can just draw your attention during, I think yang mana popular currently is during the pemulih lah exercise, during the exercise where people ask for moratorium or even for reduction in installment, right? So what we have done at Agrobank, they can actually just log in to our website and apply and send online, you know. So then we have already, then immediately we will send acknowledgement via SMS. We will inform them the status, and our SLA actually during that exercise is about 5 days for individual customers. We will respond, and for SMEs is within 14 days. So for us, again, during this period also, we try to help by, we also improve our processing. When I mentioned just now that we have given out about 900 million, we actually change our process where we can get the approval even within a very short time period compared to before. So we also adapt ourselves to the current environment. Yeah, we embrace the changes as well. And as I mentioned earlier, COVID has actually accelerated some adoption of any technology, right? So we are also part of it. So there are improvement in our process as well. And annually we actually do a survey to just gauge where we are in terms of our customer service. So those feedback we will take in, and then we will improve further to improve the customer's experience. So as I mentioned earlier, we also constantly evaluating ourselves. So one of them, as a result of them, actually is the reorganization, how we can play a greater role in delivering our mandates, where we have established a dedicated team to look specifically at the developmental aspects, yeah, as well as now we're talking about how to help the customers, even a team to look at restructuring and scheduling of the facilities, how we can help in this difficult period. Yeah, so we also have some changes during this period.
Okay, that's what Agrobank is doing during this difficult time, because not only agropreneurs who are facing difficulties or difficult time right now, banks also, but we keep improving the services and the financing aspects, and also the customer service lah, yeah, and all that. So that's all the time we have, Puan Khatijah, for today. Thank you so much for sharing your point of view, and also the Agrobank, the holistic approach by Agrobank. For those agropreneurs yang menonton, ataupun nanti kalau kita ada link tu nanti boleh share ke kawan-kawan dan sebagainya, can go to Agrobank branch, and those who would like to submit the proposal can submit to the email, via email that yes, that mentioned by Puan Khatijah just now. Thank you so much for participants. Okay, after the sessions ended, there's going to be some pop-up. Please rate us 5-star, because there's a lot of things that we shared today. And also, don't forget, next week, LINC and Astro AWANI, we're going to discuss under the Financial Freedom series with Uncle Robin. We're going to discuss about guna hutang untuk bayar hutang. This is very interesting topic. Kalau siapa yang biasa guna hutang untuk bayar hutang ni, dengarlah minggu depan macam mana cara nak uruskannya. 28 September jam 9 pagi boleh register dekat link.astroawani.com, linc.astroawani.com. Ini untuk minggu depan. Thank you so much for joining us at this time. Thank you so much, Puan Khatijah, for spending your time with us. We're gonna keep in touch in the future, because this is a topic that 1 hour tak cukup lah, masa nak bincang sebenarnya kan, ada banyak benda boleh bincang in the future. Nanti kita dah tengok RMK 12, kita dah tengok budget 2022, insyaAllah kalau kita ada masa lagi, kesempatan, we will discuss further on the agriculture. Thank you so much, and have good day to everyone. Thank you so much.